Final Bravo game of the CCL regular season. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cruisin'. That's right, Cruise Meal is back, baby. It's exciting. We got a tease the other day. A little unfortunate circumstance happened where we just couldn't get the cast together. My sweet prince, and well, now we're finally back together.
Yeah. The sweetness has finally come, and you know what? It's gonna be to the Bravo channel, but it's all good. We're here to deliver the vibes and to bring a good match between GVSU and Fanshawe College. And honestly, Cora, I think we're in for a really good one here with honestly a lot of implications low key on this match.
Yeah, there are a vast amount of implications. I'll let Jesse go over that in just a moment. But overall, with this being the final broadcast here on the Bravo stream, that means playoffs are just around the corner. So the LCQs will be starting up next week. We'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end of the broadcast on what that's going to mean for the entire CCL as a whole and where you can catch all the action starting again next week. But Jesse, just focusing back on this game down to we were at a fish lens angle. Now let's get down into the minor things. Fanshawe, GVSU, what's on the line for these two teams in this series?
Yeah, so GVSU kind of has it all to lose in this match and everything to gain from it, I guess, if you will. GVSU, if they win this match, they keep all their own fate in their own hand. But if they lose this match, that's where things kind of get rough because only the top 4 teams inside of Tier 2, they qualify or get the higher seeding in the last chance qualifiers. Everything from the bottom 5 out or from 5th place out, you kind of get put into a spot where you are having to play 2 matches in the last chance qualifier as opposed to having that first round bye. And so GVSU actually coming to this match in 3rd place currently, but Fanshawe being in 4th place right behind them tied on points going into this match will drop to 4th with a loss and also don't have the win against Windsor, who is currently sitting in 5th. So if GVSU loses this match, Corn, they're dropping to 5th place and outside of the top 4 and will then have to play an extra play-in match. And so they got a lot to lose today.
Lots to lose. We'll take a look at this head-to-head records between these two teams. Obviously, on the season, the Fuel have just a bit better of a record at 15-4 opposed to the 14-5. But, you know, Jesse, it has been GVSU who are on not only a pretty large winning streak, but have tons of momentum coming into this series. You have to think that first hardpoint is going to be a staple win that they're going to need to be able to take the series against the side of Grand Valley State.
Yeah, absolutely. And that win streak that you're talking about, I mean, they started this season 6-5 inside of Stage 1, and not just inside of Stage 1, but they were in the hardest pool in the Northeast by a long shot inside of that Northeast Pool A. And they went 6-5 through it. It's not the best, not the worst. They pretty much just squeaked inside of Tier 2 competition, but since hitting Stage 2 and playing against all the other Tier 2 teams, they've now gone on an 8-series win spree. So they have definitely been in a very, very good spot, have not dropped a match yet inside of Stage 2. And yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, their hardpoint record shows for itself. Realistically, looking at this team, they should be able to come out and be able to handily beat them inside of this hardpoint.
You know, the one thing that has been on the mind of myself the entire CCL season is that even looking at statistics, they can sometimes lie to us, and maybe not lie to us, but give us a false sense of reality. We just hope that's not the case for GVSU because everything, again, is still riding on this series for them to control their own fate. So while talking about GVSU, let's meet the roster for Grand Valley State. As we go down the line here, there's nothing short of a great team. Obviously, Purge, Infamous, Joke, and Brooks, all 4 have been really slaying together and getting the right strides together at the last moments of the season. A win here not only, again, boasts well for their destiny, but going into the playoffs, winning 9 straight series, you're going to have tons of confidence on your side, and that's really all you can want. Getting hot at the right time is the most important thing in any sort of sport, whether it be traditional or esports, and GVSU have done just that. Yeah,
absolutely. And getting hot at the right time is the perfect metaphor for Call of Duty, especially because look at what momentum can do to you. We saw it 2 weeks ago in the Call of Duty Major when we saw Los Angeles Guerrillas, who were a team that essentially came out of nowhere and won the whole damn thing, right? So, I mean, going into playoffs on an 8-match win streak, 9 if they win today, will be absolutely incredible for this Lakers roster.
As we take a look at the opposite side of things for Fanshawe, out of London, Ontario. Shout out to Seymour, who almost went there and didn't. Just one of those small little facts that we were told before the stream. Radix, Pups, Bonk, and of course Mega City to round out the 4-man roster. This is a team that I have yet to see all that much of. I've heard of some of the matches they've played. We have, I think, a very small selection of VODs to watch this team back from, but overall I'm quite excited to be able to kind of get my first gauge of this team and really see what they have to offer come playoffs, because again, not every team inside of tier 2, tier 3, top of tier 4, and bottom of tier 1 are guaranteed a playoff spot, but this is one of those teams that's directly mid-pack that really has a chance to make a substantial push towards playoffs. It's just going to be a difficult road because it's a bloodshed fest inside of the LCQs, Jesse. There's like 30-some teams who are all fighting in each separate division. There's going to be like over 120 teams playing for those, 32 playoff spots?
You're kind of throwing me for a ball. I want to say yes, 32 playoff spots for sure, because yeah, it would be the top 8 from every single top tier will make it. So yeah, that would be 32. So yeah, in a 64 team bracket, we'll have 32. That's quick maths right there. Me and McCormick.
Look at that, man.
But yeah, no, it absolutely. Fanshawe has looked very good this season. I think the big thing for them is they're kind of at an opposite place than what we've seen kind of Grand Valley State at, where they didn't have the toughest pool to go through. They ended up going 9-2 through their original pool, and then have kind of taken a step back. I want to say a little bit. They've lost a little bit more, but at the end of the day, both teams currently sitting at 8-2 overall inside a tier 2 competition. This is really a battle for third place at the moment.
Well, that Mixie map number 1 for a Bocage hardpoint is going to leave us with a ton of questions answered, specifically due to the factors of slaying from both teams. We'll see who can get in those close quarter engagements and be able to survive in those at every given point. But then we go to map 2 for the search and destroy. We'll find ourselves on Berlin and then Tuscan to close out our first 3 games. Need we go the distance, obviously, to 4 and 5. GVSU will be our second hardpoint, and we'll finish out where we started on a Bocage for that S&D. Jesse, just talking about map number 1 specifically, obviously GVSU have shown us a lot in the way of submachine gun presence. Obviously, it is going to be one of those things that lets you dominate a map like Bocage when it comes to hardpoint. Lots of animosity between these two teams in a certain sense, not in the way of maybe they're upset at one another, but this is a grudge match at the end of the day. Each team needs to win this to control their destinies. GVSU, they're going to be able to press the point first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a great match, or a great map, to kind of see where Fanshawe is going to be at in terms of hardpoint for this game going forward, because this is one of those maps where it's going to get really, really mixy throughout the entire thing, and if they can do a good job of controlling spawns on this map, you would expect going into the maps later on in the series, like that GVSU, which is such a heavy rotational map, that they should be able to handle themselves there as well.
Nice little 2-piece from Mega, but will be traded out instantaneously. That does cut down the 5 spree that Fanshawe had for themselves. Middle of the map, we go to GVSU's perspective. They cut down 3 straight players, now forced to spawn out by 2-2. With 15 seconds left, Fanshaw's exactly where they want themselves. However, with a couple of players now still falling in towards the barn and now being pushed out the back, you're going to see those white arrows start to spawn up on the right side of the map. They're going to be from the outside breaking in.
Yeah, it's a good play here from GVSU just to kind of stay alive in the back line here, but I don't think that they've realized that Radix is still alive in their back line, and he does such a great job of just hiding back there and now pulling spawns. They're going to have no idea that these spawns have flipped out. Look at all those arrows having to turn around now, and that was just a brilliant play from Fanshawe. Hadn't
even got a kill yet on the board. However, it does help the team out. But look at play number 3 in Purge, trying to do the exact same thing. Still tons of time to get here on P2. The first one's going to come through, though. Purge all the way in the back. Now finds the second. Allows the teammates to start working their way up the map. Mega's going to read it out the back, but actually isn't going to get the timing just yet. One more time, though, around the left side corner. They're still going to be spawning close there. However, it's GVSU and those blue arrows who are now making their way out the backs. Big one-on-one there to joke. It's going to be a one-on-one for the hill as well. But again, Grand Valley, they're going to be close with only 20 seconds left to rotate for the end.
Yeah, and it's right now, with the way that Fanshawe is kind of set up, they should be in a spot where they can rotate over to this hill a little bit quicker than what you'll see from GVSU here with the remaining time left on this hill with only 7 seconds. You expect to see both teams starting to make their way over towards the Grandma's house, and it will be GVSU, Joke winning a big one-on-one inside of Grandma's to just kind of solidify a little bit of positioning on the map for themselves. He knows he has another big one-on-one here, and oh my god, he catches some beautiful timing but can't make anything work with it.
But it is going to take some pressure off the rest of the teammates, though, because you get 2 over by the point. You're going to get the spawns for your team, and now you can start pushing over towards this point where Joke is holding down. Look at that. Radix gonna be the first one up snaps to the second. Help from Infamous in the middle of the map. They're going to be able to lock down at least that north side of the map. The spawns are still going to be there from Fanshawe. So although you've gotten yourselves in towards the point, and yeah, you're getting some good time, you've got to make sure you're cutting them off spawn, and that's exactly what Joke has done, as he's now got 3 in a row. They're going to try and push him out here in the back, but on 5 in a row, tried to make it number 6, was looking for some streaks for Fanshawe. However, once again, Grand Valley State are going to be able to hold on strong, Jesse, on another end of the hard point.
Joke from like a scary, awkward gunfight that he had at the back line. Was not expecting to see a 5-piece come out of him from off spawn, but just in the right place, right time, on top of that tank, able to get the job done there, able to clean those shots up that we saw a couple missed shots out of from the very start. But honestly, so far in Corn through 3 hills, very tight game between these two. We've seen both teams really kind of battling from the front through both hills, and it has been a very scrappy and kind of usual Bacage that we expect to see.
On the bottom of the barn, Brooks will be the first one up to challenge for a gunfight. However, it is going to be all white to kill feed thus far. Mega Bomb and Pups all going to go for a few, and Mega will find the last one off the board. So all 4 down for Grand Valley. You're going to start making your way back over towards the point. However, it's the south side spawns are going to be so dangerous because Mega can play the corner here, be able to dip dive dodge around, and make sure he gets the movement on you to solidify himself the kills. A 3-1 trade will allow Fanshawe to stay in, but it's going to be a contest with how close these spawns on Bacage can be. But as Radix is in the top on 4 in a row, you don't want to go ahead and lose your life just yet. Still playing the contest. Got to realize that player's going to wrap out towards the left. Your player's there to cut it down, though. So Fanshawe will hold on for the remaining time. Unfortunately, though, another player on streaks for Fanshawe gets cut down, and you lose that off the board again.
I will say one thing for Fanshawe here through the first portion of this game, Corn, is they've just been rotating quite a bit better than GVSU has so far. I mean, GVSU finally looks like they should be the first team here to a hill, unless Radix has anything to say about it. And of course, he does hill pop 2 on the outside, but unfortunately, still for Fanshawe through this hill, it looks like close spawns still going to be in full effect here for GVSU. They can reinforce this hill quite quickly while holding on to the back spots. Only thing for them right now is they really don't have much pressure towards top straight at the moment.
That's an MP40, taking a gunfight at long range versus an automaton, wins that handedly, pops down and towards the bottom of the point, will be able to break on in. And this can be such a difficult hill to break to if you're breaking from the offside. However, when you have the AR presence of Bonk to be able to find 2, and then immediately being able to push out those spawns and force GVSU all the way back towards that north portion of the map, it's going to be so good for the rest of your team. Now it's going to be on the side of Grand Valley to be able to jump down and towards that hill, cut those Fanshawe players down, and over the last couple of hills, we haven't been able to see them do that for the test time.
No, we really haven't. They haven't really been able to get inside the hill very often at all here. And this has been a very good first set of rotations from Fanshawe. I mean, from not having spawns at P2 to just making that beautiful play where you just sit Radix in the back, wait for them to spawn up or wait for a few players to die, and then everybody spawns up on you, to just being able to continuously fight from the front of hills and not allowing GVSU to get a lot of time. It's just been a very successful first set of rotations. That's why you see them up 40 points right now.
Back over towards P1, middle of the map. Blue in the kill feed now. Nice one-on-one win there from Pups, traded instantaneously. You look back over towards the north side of the map. Everybody all spawn now for Fanshawe, looking to make their way in towards the middle of the map. 30 seconds left here. Although P1 is quite scrappy, you want to make sure you have that left side of the map controlled down so you can clear yourself those P2 spawns. And once again, Grand Valley has done that. Last time, though, Jesse, it was Fanshawe who were able to break them out from the back. They're going to try to do that once again as they have numbers in the middle of the map.
Oh, I was really, really worried we might see a spawn out there for GVSU, but they will continue to hold on to those left-hand spawns, even though all 4 players go down. But yeah, like you said, these fights right now, they're absolutely important to try to hold on to these back spawns. And GVSU, unfortunately, they'll lose out on 3 of them. And this is going to give Fanshawe a fantastic opportunity now to hold the back line, hold these back spawns. And it's basically a 2v4 for spawns at the moment.
Oh, but they're going to spawn Mega out. They actually don't realize that Bonk's in the back, but beautiful timing there from Joke to not push all the way out is going to leave a pinstripe kill feed and a 2-2 split down the middle. Grand Valley still on the point, trying to push from the front, but it is Fanshawe who hold the spawns. We look to Radix now on 5 in a row, 21 and 11 on the map here so far, leading the way by a mile here for Fanshawe. You look to the side of Grand Valley, 10 and 18 there from Brooks. Hasn't had a stellar start, but 55 seconds in the hill is definitely enough to make up for what you're lacking in the kill department. 28 seconds left. You're looking at now to where you're starting to get into the 60, 70-point leads, and the slaying is still not there from Grand Valley.
Yeah, it's really not, and you got to start to think that that's why they're starting to fall behind here in this game. It's going to be double the points to Fanshawe if Grand Valley does not get back inside of this hill, and it's exactly what happens here. 10 seconds left. I would expect we don't see another contest here coming in from GVSU, and it's getting to that point of time right now, Corn, where if you're GVSU, you're rotating to Grandma's early here. This needs to at least be a 40-second hold here to keep yourselves inside of this game. It
has to be. And the last time we were here, it was Joke who was on the back tank Heglich, where you were able to get 3. You don't realize that Bonk is going to be here, though, and this could be such an influential play because if you get control of that back tank, it's so big, but you run directly past Infamous, who's sitting on the back with the AR. They can run around that right side. There's 2 players now going to be into the challenge. Usually you don't see the Automaton being the first one in there, but takes the bait anyways. We'll walk away with a one-on-one gunfight. Second one's going to push on in. Bonk will pick that up clearly. 3 in a row. Now you look to the top. Nobody's there. And so the spawns are going to be all the way on that left side of the map. 28 seconds left. GVSU, they were in first. But Jesse, just to your point, you got to hold that on. And they do the complete opposite. They let Fanshawe get a free 40 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really clean break from Fanshawe. Pushing in through the back, they were looking all around, through the tanks, through the back line. They did not see anybody on GVSU, and it was because they were kind of just turtled up inside of the hill. Nobody was really in a great spot to be able to shut that down. And of course, if you're just going to hide in corners, eventually the other team is going to figure out where you are, and they just break in. They find all the gunfights, and they eventually find all that scrap time, like you were alluding to. Once again, we'll have GVSU first team to a hill, but once again, the kill feed very much so white, and Fanshawe trying to break him from the front.
Make it work, though. All the way in the back. This one's going to be there. Ups help out, but it's a 2-to-1 trade now for the side of GVSU. Purge finally picks up those last 2 kills. So Grand Valley will get some time here. Again, it is Bakaj, so it is going to be instantaneous pressure from the offensive push now on Fanshawe Fuel. They start to make their way up. You look out towards the swamp side. One player playing all the way on the back Pegwood. That's going to be Purge who finds the first. Trade now back and forth. It's another 3-to-1 trade here. It's been blue in the kill feed for a considerable amount of time over the side of Fanshawe. They're trying to bring themselves back into this hill. But Jeff, you got to get a feeling at a certain point that it might not be enough if Fanshawe continues to lay out the way they were earlier in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that I think GVSU has a decent chance right now at trying to break into this new hill because you have streaks on Purge, but you can't even say that now because Radix also has that glide bomb as well available. So both teams with a glide bomb available, I'd be very surprised to not see either team invested here on this hill because there's just so much information that you can get. Purge will drop his in, get the player off the willow tree, but I mean, there's really not a lot of follow-up to that kill. I mean, GVSU can push him from the front, but there's just so much positioning for Fanshawe to be able to fight this back.
From the top, tries to butt down. Brooks, who had 2 kills in a row right there, still not a phenomenal game, but again, that hill time still is making up for it. It's been growing and growing every so often on the map. Pup's now down on the bottom of the hill. Looking for the player that's trying to jump on over. Fanshawe now past that double century point mark, 205 to 158. You're trying to snap back over towards the right. Yeah, actually, the player from the left doesn't challenge, but allows Infamous to get in towards the point. That was beautiful baiting and switching there from the side of GVSU. That forced Fanshawe off the point, and now they're going to be spawning out and having to fight towards that AR in the bottom of P5.
Fanshawe back onto the hill. They'll get to around the 217 point mark here if they can hold on to the remainder of this time from the top. And they absolutely will. So going into this last set of rotations, only need 33 seconds left for Fanshawe to close this one out. But GVSU, they've kind of brought this one back a little bit.
Yeah.
Still only down around 40 points, but I mean, it's a lot better than the 80 that they were down at P2 of the last set of rotations. They can hold on to the front of this hill and not give up spawns this time to Fanshawe on the left side of the map. They'll be in a good place. But as I say that, 4 go down, spawns flip out, Fanshawe in a place to win this.
And Fanshawe are going to get so much good time on P1 time that you don't usually see go towards a specific team. Lots of contests in the middle of the map, but Infamous and Brooks will double back with 2. Radix, though, will cut down the rotation in from Kitchen. You try to turn around. GVSU have broken themselves in, but it's another white kill feed that goes in the way of Fanshawe. You're just trying to hold on the rotation yet again. It was GVSU who made a great play to get those P2 rotations. Initially, the last time, Jesse, but it's been twice that they've rotated early and still lost them.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, what do you got to lose, right? If you're GVSU, just maybe try to play it from the front this time. It looks like that's going to be the call at the moment as they do not hold on to those back spawns. Fanshawe will still be spawning there, and it does look like GVSU is going to try to fight this one from the front. Got to realize, though, Pups is up on top of the barn.
And they just warned them. They tried to do everything that they possibly could to throw numbers at the point. 240 to 182. They need 10 seconds left. Everybody now trying to run across the map. You've only got 5 seconds to get there. We're holding down the front line and another streak coming across the top. The Fanshawe Fuel take down a great Grand Valley State roster and hard point for map number 1. The Bakaj swings their way and they'll have a 1-0 advantage here in the series.
I feel like Bakaj is just that map that is just the almighty equalizer inside a hard point if you know how to play. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're not a great hard point team, if you can get in a hard point, the guns are hot, you can keep things scrappy, you can win the map. That's just honestly how it feels when it comes to Bakaj. There's really not like, there is some strategy, of course, that comes into Bakaj, but a lot of times, it really is who's shooting better on the day can win that map out. In a lot of times, if you get a good 4-man down, and can it lead to your team getting 20 seconds of free time? That 20 seconds is so much bigger than 20 seconds of free time on a GVSU, which you can just answer back by flipping the map out and going to the other side of the map and setting up for a full 60 of your own. So it's one of those times where Fanshawe has now come out and they've done the hard part. They've won a hard point to start this off, which honestly was like the thing that we were probably the most worried about coming into this team, because the rest of their records look fantastic.
I mean, if you look to GVSU, you know, there's not really anything that stands out except for one thing in Brooks, and I know I touched on it multiple times throughout that game, but on Bakaj, you can't go 17 and 35. That's just one of those simple things that just, it can't happen. And I get it. You might not have like a great start to a slaying game. You might not be playing the map as fast as your teammates, or you're just trying to find your way on the map. But it's very difficult on a map like Bakaj to be like, all right, slow down, just find a couple of kills, because you can't slow down on Bakaj. You have to always be pushing the agenda forward towards the next point. So, you know, a bad start there from GVSU in terms of slaying against Fanshawe. It kind of changed in that middle portion of the game where they got it back within 30 points, but it really, after that, it was smooth sailing for Fanshawe on map number 1. And now we go to a Berlin search and destroy, where Fanshawe have, at least from the past, in terms of what we've seen on paper, been a good S&D team.
Yeah, absolutely. Corn, I think the one thing as well that kind of points out to me, and I love that you bring up Brooks and the whole 17 kills just not being enough. 2100 damage as well. I feel like it's just not enough. You just can't expect to win maps in Bakaj. I mean, I could go massively negative, but as long as I'm keeping up in damage at the very least, where I'm just losing the gunfights out by still getting a decent amount of damage and my teams can trade that out, it makes it a lot easier. But when you're still just not getting, it's hard to pin it on one player. But I mean, in that situation, when you look at those stats, it's a little bit hard to not pin it on one player. But they'll rebound, they'll come back, like you said, for this map number 2. But yeah, like you were kind of alluding to earlier, the S&D records on one side, Fanshawe looks like the much better S&D team at 8-2 against Tier 2 competition, where on the side of GVSU coming in at 5-5 against Tier 2 competition. Not the greatest, not the worst, but I mean, we've now already seen an upset in Fanshawe winning the hard point. So at this point, I feel like notes are out the window. Who knows what we're going to get from the rest of the series?
I mean, what did I say beforehand? It seems like every time we go into a series, whatever we have before we come into the game just often gets thrown out. Now, that can be because of Bakaj. Nah, I'm not going to say that, you know, what we have still isn't going to, you know, be more relevant in a map to like an S&D, because obviously Bakaj, being as convoluted as it is to play as a roster, you know, the S&D is going to be able to resurrect that just a bit. So overall, though, I think, you know, just going back to the point real quick that you were talking about for Brooks, I think that, you know, in certain situations, you have to realize if you're not having a great game, you just got to be the first one in on those entries and allow your teammates to get those trades. And I think kind of what you were saying beforehand with the damage, that also shows a big red flag, because you're not being the first one in. You're almost baiting your teammates if you're not getting a lot of damage while you don't have a lot of kills, and that's even leading you to get two-pieced. And like the big thing that you can't have in Call of Duty is you can't be getting pieced. Like, you have to get that trade out instantaneously, or you're just going to put your team at a disadvantage every time. And how many times did we mention in that game where it's all white in the kill feed, all white in the kill feed? It was multiple times where we saw GVSU get wiped off the map, and you just hope that doesn't happen here again in the search and destroy. I think this allows GVSU to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, this is what we're going to do here on the S&D. We're going to need one person to push in. If it's Brooks still, hey, that's just how it has to be. And if you get those first bloods specifically over towards that B bomb site, maybe you're able to play the window, maybe you can bust through those double doors and be able to get that bomb down quickly. But you just have to figure something out to where everybody can start having a good game in the S&D, specifically Brooks, because you don't want that to linger on for the rest of the series.
Hey, I mean, 100%. Outside of that first map, I mean, when you're looking at that, you're like, hey, Brooks, brother, I'm sorry, but you're going first man in this time into wherever we're pushing. We're sending Brooks in first after that map 1. No, I mean, hopefully there's a bounce back map here for Brooks as well. I would hate to see him have another rough map here, but nonetheless, inside of the search and destroy now will be GVSU first team on the offense, and instantly straight over to the B bomb site is Joke carrying the bomb, and it looks like it's gonna be him and Purge trying to break their way on in.
Don't get the stun check on Pups, who's playing towards that outside, but that bomb is going to go down. So if you're able to play the corner, able to find the first, maybe you get the player who's trying to plant that bomb. However, though, Purge will find that first one. You got to know that there's 2 players in the site, because there was no time for you to get that kill and then get that bomb down after the fact. So they're going to spot one out. Radix is the first one. Bonk going to be looking up that left side as he starts to make his way up the map. But with 30 seconds left, all you have to do now is continuously flood back over towards this B site, because there's nobody in it right now. And all you have to do if you're Bonk is maybe just play that contest spot all the way in the back, but you have to look for Purge, who's trying to wrap around the middle. And obviously, there's a player on the head glitch in the back there. GVSU, they play that round nicely after a first blood, and then they're able to reap the rewards.
Really happy actually with Brooks' positioning inside of that round. When they were pushing up to get the bomb down, he was the only player playing towards the A side of the map, just sitting back inside a train and just
Mhm.
watching for information. And what that information allows them to know is that there's nobody coming from the backside, which allowed GVSU to just push everybody out through the front. You didn't even really have to set up for a post plant position because you knew where everybody was coming from there. It's just great positioning from the team, in all honesty, there inside of that round number one. And GVSU is able to close things out. Now, Bonk pulling out the sniper will get the information on one player crossing, so calls that out to his teammates, but he only seen one. So should be a good amount of information now to kind of allow them to move their way up towards this B bomb site.
Beautiful double to open up the round there from Pups. Trying to get over towards that B site now. Mega will have the bomb. Hop in towards that building. Nobody out towards the dock. The only two players from GVSU up are going to be at the left side of the map, all the way back towards the defensive spawn side. 45 seconds left is going to be the timer now. You knock out those doors, and they're literally just setting for the post plan setup. Unless a miracle happens, this is just going to be way too slow of a round for GVSU to be able to make a play.
Yeah, you need to go now if you're GVSU because of how hard it is to retake the setup, and Pups is just going to toy with his food. Up at the top, completely alive, still only 25 seconds left. This is going to be a very, very tough break for anybody on GVSU to be able to get anywhere near this bomb.
Trying to hop back down in from behind. Radix out towards the dock side. Going to be able to hop up, play the head glitch, knock the last two players down. And yeah, after that was opened up with those first two players from GVSU getting aggressive towards that B-bomb site, you're just kind of in an impossible situation because if that bomb goes down and you're still across the map, again, with only 45 seconds, it's going to take you at least 20 to be able to push out the middle of the map. And then you're not even going to have information on where those players are at. So it's just like, it's an impossible task. It's an extremely tall order. We're to Abizi.
Yeah, it's just tough, right? You just cannot let them get that bomb down and then also lose two players. If you're going to retake that site, you need all four players up to be able to be successful there. And looks like GVSU, they want to take that bomb right back over towards B. Joke with the bomb in hand, looking to get very aggressive here through the bottom of Mail. Hasn't made a decision on whether or not to poke their heads out yet. It looks like kind of just a battle for information at the moment between two teams.
Oh, Radix spotted the head out of him, missed all the way in the back, but unfortunately, getting a little too overzealous with the shots there, wasn't able to connect it long range, allows Purge, who's up in top third, to be able to connect to Radix. However, though, it's back and forth trades between the two teams. That leaves GVSU with numbers in a 3 versus 2. Purge down, though, and the bomb now getting set towards that B site. It's once again Fanshawe, who is in an unfortunate situation to be able to clutch this. Both players just playing very passive in P2.
And the exact same situation that we saw inside of the last round where Brooks is just sitting in the back, completely has the flank covered for Fanshawe. So if Fanshawe want to retake this, they either have to get rid of him first or just make a play where they can go and take down the fights, and Mega and Bonk will take for 2, and it's actually just going to leave Joke all alone now. 1v2 needs to clutch up with 24 seconds left.
Winning your ones is the most important thing in Call of Duty. And now it's going to be Joker spots one out towards that left side. Bonk's going to be there. The second player is now inside of the bomb site. Doesn't realize that the player is wrapped all the way back out. You're going to be able to position yourself in a really nice place. Mega's going to get bad timing there. Going to wrap all the way back around to the site. And Joke plays it perfectly because he gets all the way back to the site and gets timing yet again. Finally, Mega's going to be able to knock him down over towards that dock side. But the damage is done. GVSU take the round there.
Yeah, Mega's going to go back and watch this this game out. And he's going to be throwing his controller into the wall after he sees the timing. He just caught 3 times inside of that final 1v1 there. But like you said, though, Joke played that perfectly, though. He finds the first, knows that there's nobody on the bomb because of where the bomb was planted, and is able to just bounce completely out of there, lay down at the perfect time. And honestly, if you're Mega in that spot, there really wasn't anywhere else where he could go, but he just got a terrible timing in that spot, and unfortunately did not see the player lay down in behind those boxes. And yet again, GVSU going to take the offense. It's what it's been so far here, all offense. And now Fanshawe, once again, taking this bomb over towards this B site, but you can see GVSU not committing a lot of resources, looking like they want to play for a full retake at B. And unfortunately, Purge goes down top third, though.
It's been Purge and Radix trading first bloods back and forth between the two teams thus far here in the S&D. Radix will win the best of the one-on-one this time. No. It is going to be the side of Fanshawe, who are going to have a free plant over towards A. They actually don't realize that the entire A site is completely done. But, I mean, I guess for the side of Grand Valley, you have a flank potentially coming through, but it's in the middle of the map. It's going to be so hard for Brooks to be able to make this aggressive play.
Brooks. And yeah, drops. It's a tough one, right? Because there's 3 players sitting inside train station watching that push. So really nowhere for Brooks to go now, leaving Joke and Infamous in a 2 versus 4. I mean, at least they have a couple angles, but this is just not looking like it's a good position to be in with where that bomb is out and only 30 seconds left.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive play that you're gonna have to make to be able to get the defuse. Same thing with over towards that B site, and it's been the same kind of story on the defensive round here for the side of GVSU, Jesse. It's the unwillingness to get aggressive on the map, the I guess non-adaptive play that they've had thus far, because you feel your back where Pups popped the two-piece in that first, or that, rather the first offensive round for Fanshawe, and then the two players didn't start to push up the map whatsoever for GVSU. There, they realized that there was nobody there. They just made rotations way too late, and Brooks was the first one there, but he had no help afterwards.
Yeah.
So when they rotated on over, there was nothing he could do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing with that round too is I don't mind the sit back, play for A, and just play for a retake at B. I really don't mind that play at all. But if you're going to make that play, Purge cannot be poking his little head out, going over towards the B side and getting dropped in for first blood. It just simply cannot happen off the start. And Infamous and Redix are going to continue this long range gunfight that we've seen a few times throughout this game so far. And Brooks with the bomb, yeah, trying to get it into B.
Just wanted to peek it, but Pups, can you be the upset here yet again for GVSU? You stole player 2 in Infamous. Out towards the left, but a beautiful nade's going to take Brooks off the bomb, and they should have information that the bomb is going to be down now. So for the first time, the defensive side is going to have the numbers advantage in a 4 versus 3. Now it's a 2v4.
And this is just a great spot to be in if you're Fanshawe. I mean, you've got everybody just pinned now on GVSU. They either need to overextend and get this bomb or make a crazy play and try to win a gunfight. And as long as you stay together and play your numbers, this should be a pretty easy round to be able to close out if you're our Fanshawe here.
Difficult gunfight to take. Pup's going to check the bomb site. You know that the bomb is down there. Infamous starting to make his way up the map. You know that Radix was inside fire the last time seen, but you don't know that Pups is playing on the bomb site as well. So, for the first time, a team will take 2 rounds in a row. Fanshawe will take themselves to the lead for the first time here on Berlin. More importantly than anything else, Jesse, it's been on the tail end of multiple first bloods on the side of Fanshawe that have really won them the rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, question for you inside of that round there.
Sure.
Did you happen to see if the player that was putting the bomb down, I believe it was Brooks, did you happen to see Brooks took shots, or was that just a straight nade that was able to take them out there inside of that round? If so, if you're the bomb planter, you absolutely need to be wearing flak jacket inside of that B side. There is no excuse not to be.
No, I'm almost 100% certain that he just banked the nade off the window there and then was able to get it to where he was planning. It just landed right on top of him and took him out. So it was a beautiful nade there from Pups, to say the least. But now he's on 4 in a row. Radix is still on 3. You're looking for the first blood yet again here if you're Fanshawe. You have yet to drop an offensive round. Infamous is looking all the way down the back, and I know he gets Radix. Just kidding! Infamous signs the first blood, and it's still back and forth with Radix and or one player from GVSU finding the first blood every round.
How crazy is this? We go defense for defense, or offense for offense originally to start this off for 4 straight rounds. Now a possibility to go defense for defense here in rounds 5 and 6. And again, I mean, you're just getting an extremely slow defense out of GVSU here. But with their positioning at the moment, I mean, they'll know as soon as this bomb tries to cross over towards B, they will get one more. And now Mega and Bonk just have to go absolutely massive with this bomb. And Bonk has a sniper in hand too. This is looking bleak.
He picks up the automaton. Oh, over towards the right side. Maybe you're able to find a kill. Mega somehow is able to get behind both the players. Now it's the team kill that comes in. Finally able to get the shots, though, from the fun there at the very end. But Jesse, I mean, I personally there didn't see really any adaptations from GVSU on the defensive side. It just came down to winning those one-on-one gunfights at the beginning of the round. Once they get that first blood, they can still play that passive way that they wanted to, and then maybe start to make those slow pushes after they get that second kill down, because they know where those last 2 players are going to be, and they've already worked their way up the map. So I don't see any inclinations of GVSU wanting to change that. It's just seeming like they have to get that first blood or they're lost.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is what it feels like. I mean, it's been very, very, very passive rounds on defense for GVSU, where they've kind of just sat back, kind of picked a bomb site to pick, and just hope that Fanshawe gets a little bit too aggressive and you're able to catch them out. It's what happens that time, and it's the first round that they're able to take out. Does Joke see that foot?
I was going to say, does he see the foot
through that wall? Because there's definitely a possibility that you could.
Oh, he definitely does. Oh, I thought he did. No, they're going to bring around the Rosie. He's going to break the back 4. The shots are there. Oh, I thought maybe Pups gets the turn on him. Leaves him with 6 HP. Maybe if one of those bullets doesn't go through the plywood there.
What was that one-on-one?
A different star. I don't know. Dude, that looked like me and Switchy going at it on the map.
Except usually it's Ryan coming out on top.
Okay,
we'll
dude.
leave that one for another
bro.
conversation. Bomb down inside of the mail room. Looks like Ratings wants to take that one-on-one, not able to win it out, and looks like GVSU will be able to pick that bomb back up. But yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're GVSU, you've got a player coming around on your flank in Mega. Now the question is where are we going to be able to get this bomb down? That's just some ridiculous shots coming in from Radix.
I mean, it might not be the first blood of the round there. But it is the first blood to give them numbers in a 3 versus 3, and it's only 20 seconds left to work this bomb. But it's player number 3 in the middle of the map that's going to win a huge 1-on-1. That's Purge to be able to get out clear over towards that A bomb site. But is number 5 in Radix going to be able to rotate fast enough? And Mega, who's all the way around the back. Oh, you can't lose this to Brooks. You can't lose this to Brooks. You fire over towards the left. It's ring around the Rosie yet again. One of these gunfights we're watching. Bomb will go down. 1 versus 2. And now Purge looks to the middle of the map. Beautiful.
1 HP. 1
game.
HP in a dream. Purge makes it out with. Bomb still down at the A site, so he has to check at some point. I mean, never mind. Apparently, we're not going to check the bomb. That's it right away. So it's just going to be a 1-on-1. More ring around the Rosie here. I don't know what we're watching inside of the search and destroy right now, Cord.
Dude, it's been timing on timing every single round thus far, but is Mega going to be able to get the best timing here?
Yet?
I don't know, but he's about to. And Mega might just get the worst timing. I thought he was going to get good timing. Now it's Purge from behind in a 1 versus 2. What? Okay, let's just calm down here.
You know what that 1v1 just reminded me of? It reminded me of, I don't know if you remember that clip back in World War II when Scum planted the bomb and ran away and was just like, Halo kids don't hop bomb. Do you remember that clip? He just sat in the back and never checked the bomb. That's what that just reminded me of there. Because it felt like he just knew. Purge just knew that that bomb was never going to get defused by Mega at any point. Didn't seem like he checked at any point there, but now finds himself on 5 in a row. A great round out of Purge. Looking to maybe even build their way towards some glide bomb here. Fanshawe, though, they want to take it over to A.
I mean, everybody just thought that they were taking the routes that round. And like half of them worked, half of them didn't. And it was like the first one I thought was like, oh, dude, that's a surefire kill. And then all of a sudden it just it just didn't pan out well. But Mega trying to burst into the bomb site here. They've got it. Oh, Infamous is going to be able to spot that out. Do you see the name tag through the doorway? Do you see the player in? Yes, of course you do. You're going to get the information that there's a few players there. And especially since GVSU have not seen anybody over on that B side, and now you have Joke flanking all the way around through the back. This should be around to where you can start making this pinch play, cut it off like a snake, and then suffocate it completely.
What sucks, though, for Joke is he didn't wrap all the way around, and unfortunately, in the back, Bonk with the sniper was completely ready for it, able to find the first blood. Now with the man advantage, I think this round's going to come down to whether or not Bonk expects for a second player to be flanking.
Maybe. If you're able to get the ADS down, you find that kill all the way in the back. 30 seconds left. Mega inside of the train station, looking for a few players on the flank. You know that it's going to be coming through. Up from the staircase might be able to make the hero play. You're able to find the first one. No. Shots are going to be peppered in. Infamous is going to get over aggressive. Pups will find the second. However, Purge, who is the last one alive, has 6 in a row. If you get this kill, you get the glide bomb, and you might have just saw Pups there. So maybe if you get from behind, you're able to spot one player out. You're not going to be able to get the defuse here, but you have to be playing for streaks if you are Purge. The first one's going to pop up. Pups is going to be there. Mega now inside of the Fire building is just going to play passive and wait till the round is over. Bomb defuse, rather bomb exploded. Fanshawe round win, but it's on the opposite side of where things really get interesting because GVSU now have a glide bomb and a streak to work with.
See, it's kind of one of those situations, though, Corn, where I'm kind of watching that now, and I'm like, was it worth playing for the streaks? Because Purge played that round extremely slowly after finding that pick in the back. There was 30 seconds when he found the trade and forced it into a 3v3. And I don't think it was until around 15 seconds left on the round that he actually got back over to the A site when he could have been there in 5. And it's one of those times where if they can set up a pinch onto that site, maybe they win that round out. I mean, at least at this point, you've got the for sure streaks. You can try to use them in the back side of this map now. But it's one of those things where it's like, was it worth it playing for those streaks? We'll see how much value he gets out of them.
Falling around the corner, Purge going to be the first one pushed up over towards the left. Brooks sat all the way in the back watching for the flank. Might have spotted out Pups there. Far rotation. So Gunplay, you'll have to keep your eye on in towards the mini-map. Mega, 8 over the top. Should be able to get one off the bomb, or at least we can up Joke. The bomb will go down, though. 45 seconds left. Here comes player number 7 all the way on the flank. Pups, off-screen engagement. Now on screen, going to be able to find it. That's 2 kills that go immediately in the way of the Fanshawe roster after they go ahead and get that bomb down. Still going to be a difficult site to retake.
And now you've pretty much just got all the players in GVSU pinched inside this site. Only issue is you got Bonk on a pistol sniper still, so you really just need to kind of make a play together. They will trade out 1 for 1. And, I mean, if you're Infamous, you're actually not in a bad spot here because you can just check the bomb.
But they both have ARs trying to look over the top. Infamous is going to be there. You have to trust your teammate on the right side to be able to pick up the kill, and you will. Bonk is able to find it as Radix gets the defuse. Infamous, it was a close round that you might have been able to close out. You still have the streak to work with if you are GVSU. But now it's match point for Fanshawe. This could be the dagger in the series, potentially. You hate to spot it out this early, but going up 2-0 in the series is kind of the key to victory that we spelled out for them going into a control.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does feel like that. If you can take this map, it absolutely can be what closes things out for Fanshawe. Let's keep in mind, you still do have a streak on the side of GVSU that can be used in this round. Tons of information
breadstick watch.
coming in from that glide bomb. We're not talking about the breadsticks right now. Brooks is doing fine, all right? 1-7, and it's a salute right now. Oh, actually, no, it'd be 0-7. Oh, I'm terrible at this.
I mean, 0-7 would be a salute. It also would be joining the agency for Brooks. Unfortunate that the game 2 is going almost as poorly as map number 1 off Radix. I thought maybe you get another first blood there. I don't even realize that Bonk is pushed up, but Infamous wins the 1-on-1 because Bonk tried to turn back over towards the right. Unfortunately, doesn't walk away, but the kill joke almost does the exact same thing there. But Jesse, that's kind of a situation like when you're watching football, you just try to start running before you actually catch the ball, and you just drop it when you know your name is. Oh, dude, you know what? I'm not going to even finish that. I forgot his name. It's over. It's GG's.
Well, back to the Call of Duty, but Fanshawe in a 1v3 now for Radix. Let's see what he can do here. And, yeah, I mean, this isn't a great spot to be in. Bomb down inside of B. And I think the best thing about this round right now, is that GVSU, you're very likely to win this round outside of some remarkable plays coming in from Radix here. If you 1v2s this, I'll scream. But you didn't have to invest the glide bomb. That's what's really big right now.
True. But it would be huge if you were able to walk away with a round win. Oh, Radix, shots over towards Infamous. He's been so good in the one-on-ones, but Infamous will walk away with the round win and the kill for the team. That means we're going to a round 11 here between both of these two teams. Jesse, the only thing I have to say now is you don't want to lose the S&D if you're GVSU, because I feel like that'd be a done series.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to lose this search and destroy. I don't think that either of these teams are truly ever out of a series right now, though, with both being at 8-1 control records. But it definitely would be pretty hard to come back against this Fanshawe team with how they played in that map number 1 against you going in towards more respawns. But we'll have to see. We go into round 11. GVSU putting a ton of pressure over towards B. Fanshawe, though, first time we've seen them send a double setup over here at the B site right now. And if GVSU chooses to push out towards this site, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
It's never how you start, it's how you finish in games that go down to the wire. Brooks hoping to make that statement true, but again, yeah, as Jesse said, Infamous coming away with that first blood here in the round 3 in a row. Obviously, streaks really won't matter much, because if you get those last kills, you won't even get to number 7, so we won't have to talk about that whatsoever. 50 seconds left here in the round. Bomb still trying to work through the middle of the map right now. It's just a classic GVSU slow push.
I'm honestly kind of surprised the Purge doesn't invest the streak here to at least get information off the start of this round. Speaking of information, I believe Mega just tagged up with the stun, so we'll throw a nade. Finds the information with the nade as well, and gets the trade on a Purge. That is a massive gunfight win. And now with only 27 seconds left, GVSU needs to find a way to get in and get this bomb down at one of the two sites.
And I mean, you hop to the opposite side because you think somebody might be pushing up your staircase, but it just puts you in a bad situation because the shots come from exactly where the nade was thrown. 15 seconds left, and you just got to push it in the middle of the map. I don't know what you're doing here if you're Joke, but you're trying to maybe get behind the player all the way out over towards the docks. Player number 8 doesn't spot it out, but you might be able to get the call here to Pups. Pups had a huge 2-piece to open up the first offensive round that they won. The bomb is just going to start going down. I don't know if he got it in time. They're going to be able to shoot him off the bomb. Oh, no. Oh, Jesse, it's the same thing that we talked about for 11 straight rounds. GVSU just played way too slow, and it came back to bite them in the arse.
Corn. It's just one of those situations there. When you are playing Search and Destroy, you need to be decisive with what you're doing. And I just felt like there was no decisiveness through 11 rounds of that Search and Destroy for GVSU. It just felt like they were playing very reactionary through a lot of that S&D, and I think I can see why they're at 5-5 in terms of Tier 2 competition Search and Destroy for themselves here. It's because when you go into a lot of those rounds, you need to make sure that you have a plan of what you're doing with the bomb. And not only that, but you also need to commit to something. There was never a commitment inside of that last round, especially for GVSU, as to what they want to do until there was 15 seconds left and they were forced to put the bomb somewhere. On offense, to win rounds of Search, you just need to be decisive. It just was not there inside of that S&D.
I mean, they weren't decisive on offense and or defense, so that was the tale of the story. But I mean, you look to the side of Fanshawe, 12-2, or excuse me, 12-7, and an 11-7 performance from both the players there. I mean, you got to tip it in the S&D there to clutch up with the ice at the very end of the round. Obviously, Brooks not having a great game. It's definitely an eyesore again after how map number 1 went. It's just unfortunate. You know, you're going to have some slow series, and right now, Brooks is just not having a good series. And you hate to put blame on one player over and over again. The hard point, you can understand, slow start to a series, but in the S&D, underperforming like you were in map number 1, especially when the game goes to 11 rounds, and then Fanshawe barely squeaks it out at the end because of the indecisiveness. You have to think that in some situations, it might be the hindrance of plays because you're not having somebody who's able to slay out with the rest of the team. And again, I don't want to make this sound like it's a big negative thing for Brooks, but when you have a missing link, sometimes it can feel like it's a 3 versus 4 on a bomb site, even when you're pushing as a 4-man unit towards that A or the B site, and it can be so hard to win. You had multiple first blood throughout the entirety of the game. You couldn't capitalize on it, and you're now left in a no-2 deficit. And Jesse, I don't think I need to remind everybody, I think I'll let you do that again, about the implications that GVSU have now, because you have to reverse sweep if you want to keep your season alive in a general sense, at least control your own destiny in that regard.
Yeah, for sure, right? And I think it really kind of comes down to, we'll kind of recap for everybody if you don't know, if GVSU loses this match and you get a win later on for Windsor, what this does is it will actually drop GVSU, who's currently sitting in the 3rd place spot, to 5th, and it will force them to have to play 2 matches inside of the last chance qualifiers, as opposed to having to bye and only having to play 1 match against whoever wins, and they would go up against them. So puts you in a much tougher spot. And so, I mean, Corn, we wrote in our notes, pressure's on now. Don't let the pressure get to you. I feel like it's kind of gotten a GVSU through these first 2 maps. Yeah,
it most certainly has. And as I just kind of look back at everything that we said, you know, for Fanshawe, the first thing was, you know, hardpoint has to be the focus mode to take against GVSU because they've been so good in it this season, specifically on the win streak that they've had of 8 straight series inside of Stage 2. That has been the big kicker overall in terms of overall story. However, at the same time, though, here, Jesse, the big thing that has come to my attention is the fact that we said that S&D is a must-win for GVSU.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. Now it's 0-3.
It's tough, yeah.
So shutting down the hot team of GVSU was on the cards early on. Fanshawe now in the driver's seat of this series. We're going to take things to a quick break. Tuscan Control coming up in just a moment. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cruisin'. We'll be back here for the final day of the CCL regular season. Well, Jesse, it's been a fun series thus far, but it's a 2-0 lead for Fanshawe Fuel over the side of GVSU Esports. And then we go to a Tuscan Control where the respawn in map 1 just was not as close as we had maybe anticipated or hoped for. If you are a Grand Valley State University fan, there is reason to have concern for this next upcoming Tuscan, but it's not the end of the world. You are still going to be in the LCQ. As Jesse laid out before we went to break, though, it's just going to be a bit more difficult of a road to actually get to playoffs if you do lose this game to the Fanshawe Fuel. So, Jesse, talking about Tuscan Control, what do you like from map 1 that you hope not to see here from GVSU in map 3?
I think Brooks needs to pick it up, plain and simple. I honestly, just not a great map 1, not a great map 2, and I know we're talking about it, and I don't want to keep harping on it, but I think Brooks needs to pick it up here inside the back half of this series if they want to be able to take on Fanshawe, because Fanshawe's looked like a complete unit, especially inside the hardpoint, which is the weaker of their 2 modes, or of their 3 modes, actually, in all honesty, because their control looks to be their best mode. Luckily for GVSU, though, also their best mode on the season. Both teams coming in at 8-1, like we kind of alluded to before, against Tier 2 competition. So coming into this one, GVSU still on an 8-match win streak to make that 9 and to solidify themselves in that spot. They need to reverse sweep, and it's going to be a very, very hard job, I think, with just the way that Fanshawe played, and also the lack of confidence that I think we've seen from GVSU's SD, even if we get to the back half of the series.
Look, what a spectacular reverse sweep, though, it would be to keep the win streak alive and then have a little bit more momentum for playoffs, or at least LCQ. But again, that's going to be a very tall order and a tough task to do against a very strong Fuel roster. And I think if you are a Fanshawe fan, you're going to be happy with how things have gone thus far, and you should be feeling a little bit confident about how the roster is going to be playing going into the Control. Again, Brooks, we'll have to keep an eye on him. I hate to throw that negative spotlight around, but it has to be said when a player has underperformed for 2 maps and can be considered a cause of some of the reasons that you have not been performing up to the standards as the GVSU roster. Either way, pops into the middle of the map to start things off. Colors are going to be flipped, but or rather, at least the logos, and of course the headers are going to be correct at the top of the screen, though. So just remember that the blue is going to be at least the kill feed for right now instead of Fanshawe.
I didn't even pick up that, so thank you for that for me in general as well. But we will get a break right off the rip from GVSU, able to at least stop Fanshawe from pushing over towards A. But what that's going to allow is a spawn to come through over towards the rooftop side of the map, and I thought that might be a good opening over towards B. Apparently, I was very, very wrong, as GVSU completely shuts down all four as well.
Purge shots all the way long. 2 quick kills going to come through now for the side of GVSU. 8 life advantage overall here inside of the first round of Control. Down the corner, Purge will pick up number 4 in a row, tries to go for number 5, and absolutely will. Inside a top apartment, you go for number 6 around the corner. Can anybody stop this player in towards the top of apartment buildings?
The answer was no. Purge finds his 7th in a row, able to get the full streaks as well. I mean, this has just been domination inside of this game mode so far here for GVSU. Apparently, they just need to be the team in the white arrows, and they're going to start to pop off inside of this series. And yeah, I mean, this is a very, very good start to this Control. No ticks of progress even close to coming through yet here. And the spawn trap just continues to be ensued. And the big thing here for me is that Purge is 8 in a row.
I was going to say, you know...
It has not died still.
However, though, it is going to be the push over towards this B site. Not going to be able to pick up 1 that takes down Infamous, but Brooks all the way in the back is going to be able to pick things up just a bit further. On towards that left side. A couple more players now from Fanshawe trying to make their way up the map. Purge will go ahead and casually go and extend that streak to 9-0. Coming off the spawn, that was an aggressive challenge if you are Purge, and you, of course, get cut down for it. But the good news is that is a very convincing round there from GVSU to start things off here in the Control. A 15 life advantage, and now streaks to work with a little bit further into the rounds.
I think Fanshawe got 1 tick of progress over at B at the end of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like they got 1 tick throughout that entire round there. So yeah, definitely not the best round out of Fanshawe coming through to start that off. They'll have to answer back with a big defensive win of their own here. And I mean, I really don't think that if you're going to reverse sweep somebody, I don't think you could have started off with a better round of Control to kick some momentum back into your side. Even Brooks, like we were kind of harping on through the last couple maps, much better so far here at 6-3 to start this game off.
Looking over the top, first tick of progress on A going to come through for the side of Grand Valley State. All the way from behind, though, you gotta watch the flank there if you are capturing that A zone, especially since you read that you didn't have everybody down on the side of Fanshawe. Makes everybody from GVSU pay. So yeah, you get the first tick of progress, but now you're back to square one because Pups just ripped through you on the flank side and was able to cut everybody down and send them back to the chopping block. Now on 4 in a row, trying to get streaks of their own here on the defensive side.
And now also just trying to pin GVSU into their spot in the same way that Fanshawe got pinned the last round through. And so far, so good, honestly. You've done a great job of just kind of putting these players into uncomfortable situations. Radis, you take one more step to your right, you're falling off the map there, but able to hold the angle perfectly. And it looks like actually GVSU is going to try to make the rotation now over towards the B zone. How quickly does Fanshawe respond to this?
Have to put them all out. Everybody in the blue arrows is going to be here from Fanshawe. Over the top, Bonk is going to knock the first one down. Brooks, though, with an instantaneous trade. Now at 10-5. Getting a great start here to the Control. Still players over towards this B zone. Bonk going to be looking for Purge, and we'll cut that player down. The last one there is going to be player number 5 in Joke. He's pushing up and towards the top of the radio. He just got some really bad timing on Pups, who was climbing up the ladder, but at least this splits the timeout for now. So 23 seconds left, you find yourself back over on that A point. Radix going to be the far one with the AR in hand. I don't know why you're challenging that with an MP40. You just got to stay on the point and stack it. Finally, you do. You add an extra minute to the clock, but now you're just spawning a little bit further back over towards the left, and it's just going to take more time off the clock, Jesse.
I mean, at the very least, though, Corn, they get the A zone done, right? Like,
sure.
Going towards B opened up the avenue for them to be able to make their way back over towards A. So I think a successful hit, all in all, comes through there. Now they make the play through the top side of Church. They're going to try to push their way through Radio. Fortunately, 2 players will end up falling, and Bunk's is going to go massive for the third. So first push completely snuffed out there from Fanshawe. And now GVSU, then you do regroup, try to hit this one more time.
Things get stalled out once again. If you're Fanshawe, You're happy with the way things have been going on this defensive side after the catastrophic loss of round number 1 that you had on offense? Tup's now looking to push all the way through. Just a little bunny hop across the map. It's going to be good enough for information from the player in radio. You wait for them to get aggressive and push on now. Unfortunately, though, enough is enough. And Joke will be able to pick up the trade with the nade. Walk in the top, though. Trying to go back to the flat. That's 2 for 2 on the kills. Infamous is going to be there from behind. But once again, it's just a stalled out push here from GVSU as everybody's coming back off the respawn block. And Fanshawe can kind of breathe easy here towards the end of the round. It'd be a miracle if they were able to win this on offense.
Yeah, just keeping them pinned. It's not going to be easy. They'll have one more shot at this. Everybody's going to need to fly in through the front, and as soon as this happens, you're basically now in a 1v1. You need to hop on the zone. You don't even get on the zone in time, and GVSU will end up dropping the round themselves, and it's going to tie us up at 1-1 here. And at the very least, if you're GVSU there, you get 3 ticks of progress, so you've still got that one kind of upper hand over Fanshawe going in towards the later portions of this game.
Offensive push here now on the side of Fanshawe, trying to recorrect the wrongs that you had in the first round here on Tufkin. Mark is going to cook a nade. The rest of the teammates are going to start making their way up the map. You're just trying to hope for some information or at least to weaken that player up. He's all the way on the Heglet in the back there. Joke through the middle of the map. We'll be able to take down one Infamous there for a trade. It's 2-2 split back and forth. And terrible timing there for Bonk. At least it's picked up by Radic. Now you have to look on to Purge, who is in the U side. So you get 2 ticks of progress instantaneously. This is more than you got the entirety of the first offensive go here on Tufkin. And now you just have to get these last couple of gunfight wins to go your way, and you'll have an extra minute to work with in life advantage as you push over towards B.
And it took him, what, all of 12 seconds this time to get all 3 ticks of progress over at A. So it really couldn't have been worse than that first offensive round there from Fanshawe, or sorry, from GVSU. But now, looking in towards the back half of this, it's looking a little bit better. Now trying to push their way out through the middle of the map. And this is where it gets tough, though, because now you have to try to find a way to break into B, and you're going to lose all 4 players. It's just Mega left alive now, close enough to do really anything at the moment. But, I mean, at least they're winning their gunfights. They're not getting pinned to the back at the moment.
Mega in the top, once again, might get some bad timing here. He's able to turn around quickly after the fact. Joke and Brooks now making their way through the top of the church. A nade out from forward. Radio side should be able to tag up a few players in a will. That'll force them to back off. One player's going to sprint all the way over towards the top patio side on the top of the platform. I don't know where Portfolio came from, Jesse, but right now, it's Bonk who's opening his. The case for why he should be the MVP of the series.
Absolutely. Maybe that's where the little ticker was going there, but it's all good. We're able to at least get that, sorted out. That is a patio, not a
Saved
Portfolio. And yeah, just continuing on here for Fanshawe. I mean, I really don't know what they can do to break on in here because everybody's just solo pushing at the moment. You need to group up. You need to play it a little bit more together. Radix cannot make a 1v4 push and break his way into the zone right now for this Fanshawe team.
Radix, nice shots over the top on the Brooks. 15-11, has had a standout performance for himself here in game number 3. This is exactly what we wanted to see from GVSU. If they were going to start the reverse sweep, and here on defense, they've done a great job of being able to hold Fanshawe back for about 1 minute and 30 seconds now, ever since they were able to capture that first A zone. Walk all the way to the backside spawn, not going to realize that Joke's just sitting in the corner. So as you start to make your way back here over on the offensive push, you just want to get onto that zone and make sure that you can make it stick. However, it's been all GVSU in the backside spawns, winning the majority of their gunfights, pushing them all the way towards that left portion of the map. And with 25 seconds, this is your last desperate attempt at getting on that B zone if you are Fanshawe.
Yeah, and it's just going to be a break completely from the back. They're full committed to this push here. And Famous will get completely ripped. So they actually went out 3 big gunfights, make that 4. This is your opportunity. You need to get on. You need to cap right now.
Oh, the glide bomb's going to come in over the top, but you're trying to save the round. Everybody's going to scatter like ants around the point. 1 for 1, you go for the trade. First tick of progress now going for the second. Everybody stacked back on the point. Brooks will fall. Joke is going to be there for 1. 2 ticks of progress. You've got to get these players off the point. Radix goes big over towards that right side. Infamous going to be the next one to challenge down the ramp. You're going to save it for now. Last one there is Bonk. He's going big for 4. Goes for 2. You don't spot the legs. You don't spot the legs. But you win the kill anyways. Bonk on 5 in a row. Solo pushes on the offensive side. Walks in the chat, that guy's Diffy.
That is absolutely unbelievable. The fact that Fanshawe was able to win that round out. I mean, Corn, it was 2 minutes and 15 seconds of solid pushes. Actually, I'll say 2 minutes of solid pushes and trying to break into B. and just nothing. They got absolutely nothing. 15 seconds left of the round. They finally group up, and what do? They finally make a good solid team push, and they break into B. They find all 4 kills, and that's all it takes sometimes. You just need one solid push. You break in, you're able to take it, and now Fanshawe setting themselves up in a great potential chance at being able to close this game out here inside of 3.
That's back-to-back days on Bravo where we've had crazy control rounds that go down to the wire, and the offensive team somehow comes out with a win over the top. But it is going to be Bonk who falls this time. Everybody now in the kitchen sink being pushed out from GVSU towards this B-bomb. You gotta be careful. Slowly in the back, Mega's making a flank to try and get back around you from the top of radio side. And now it's just going to be a convergence of everybody from GVSU back towards the point. That's going to be 4 down, and now you're going to be forced to split your offensive pushes back over towards A. But it's already player number 2 and Mega who's made their way on towards that A zone. So it's going to be a difficult gunfight here towards the front. Finally, unfortunately, you'll get the kill if you are the side of GVSU. But now you got to be able to stack this A point and hope that you can win an offensive round for you don't lose this series.
Honestly, if I'm Fanshawe in this situation, I'm probably chalking A here. I don't think that we really need to worry about the B zone. I haven't seen enough from GVSU in the last round to think that they'll be able to come out and they'll be able to take it. Although I say that, and Fanshawe also won 1 round in their one tick of progress in their first offense. But nonetheless, A will be completely finished off here. GVSU just trying to now make their way out, make their way over towards this B zone. And speaking of which, Brooks has snuck the line in the back. Could make the game hero play here.
22 and 17 for Bonk, leading the game right now, but Brooks all the way in the back.
Massive
with 2 crucial kills, because that's going to force those north side spawns on the side of Fanshawe. Now as you start to rotate back over towards the bottom, Mega's going to be the only one here that can really make the damage happen, but it's Purge who wins the one-on-one. Pups all the way in the back line, you lay down, you try to stop the toes out. This Infamous now pushes up the map. The reinforcements are about to be here. You have to win your ones on the point. You're not able to do so. And now Fanshawe is going to be able to hold on the defensive side. Still 15 lives apiece. We're dead even with a minute left.
So tough. It's so tough to break into this B zone. I mean, you even saw in that last round, Brooks goes massive in the back, finds 2 kills, still can't make their way in. Pups will get baited out here, will get dropped. Luckily, though, teammates right there for the trades, and it's just a very split kill feed. And fortunately, right now, for Fanshawe, as they are still spawning close, nobody's been able to get into the back line still.
And you just spawn so far away if you're on offense, but Joke and Purge have gone big in the front lines. They've been able to push the side of Fanshawe all the way back into their spawn. Now it would be an amazing turn of events if you're going to be able to go ahead and do the exact same thing Fanshawe did to you the last time through. But Bonk trying to remain defiant as he was on offense, as the nade is going to come over the top from the hands of Infamous. Slide bomb going to come in now. Streaks used here from the side of GVSU to try and push things back. It is going to be Radix who finds 1, though, on the offensive side. And now you can start pushing this back again. 30 seconds left. All you have is, again, that one desperate push. We'll see if it's the side of Fanshawe who can hold defiant this time.
If you're GVSU here, you need to fly forward. You can't just turtle. Or, sorry, if you're Fanshawe, you can't just turtle in the back. You need to make sure that the players on GVSU cannot get close enough to get onto this hill and stop the clock. They will find a few kills. It's just 2 players left now for GVSU. Only Brooks near this hill at the moment. And, I mean, it's a foot race to see if GVSU can even get close enough to get back onto the zone.
Trying to close out the series. 3-0 the side of GVSU. You touch the point with 1.2 seconds left. Mega around the corner. You're going to be able to spot behind the last player. Nobody's going to touch the point. And after a wild round where Bonk gives you a 1 versus essentially 4 on the point, GVSU will fall. Fanshawe Fuel will find themselves with a 3-0 win and advance and catapult themselves into a position where they now control their own destiny with only 1 team that they'll have to play against come the LCQ.
Yeah, it's a great game from Fanshawe, bumping themselves up to 3rd place behind Utica and St. Clair in Tier 2. And honestly, I mean, those are 2 great teams to be sitting yourself in behind inside of Tier 2 standings. But man, I mean, Corn, I'm looking at it right now. There's no word yet on whether or not Windsor or Waterloo have won that matchup coming through. And oh my god, I thought I got baited by the eFuse website. It put me back to round 1. I got completely baited. I thought Windsor had won that out. Still no word yet for us on that one.
What a series. It's another 3-0 that provides us with so much content that it felt like it could have been a 5-game series easily. However, we look at the scoreboard real quick one more time. It was Bonk who led the way for the side of the Fanshawe Fuel, 25 and 23. A lot of lives that came in, but tons of engagements. And of course, the play that completely changed the entire outlook on the series. It was looking like it very easily could have gone to at least a map number 4. We might have saw another hard point, and then Bonk said, screw it, I'm going to go by myself. and 1v4 in the entirety of GVSU to clutch up the game. Brooks has a good game. Infamous, not so much there. You know, you can dig into the numbers all you want, but at the end of the day, it was just a well-rounded control there out of the side of the Fanshawe Fuel, and they, again, control their own destiny going forward. Jesse, I had a great time. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a really good time there to be able to see the back half of the series. And I mean, GVSU, man, a series that you needed to win to control your own fate, you get 3-0'd. It is not a good look for the GVSU boys. I mean, that hard point, it was a rough time. I wouldn't say that one was fully winnable. The S&D very much so winnable with the 6-5, but it kind of got smoked inside of that control there. I mean, it was tight through the first little bit. They had a very good first round on defense, but Fanshawe, their defenses were just way too good. GVSU had nothing to answer back with on either war. And then to be able to take an offense in the fashion that Fanshawe did, the fact that it took them 2 full minutes to be able to get even close enough, and then with one opportunity, they break in, they get the job done. Fanshawe closes it out with that 3-0 fetch. It's a great play. Yeah. And a great series for Fanshawe to be able to catapult themselves up, like you said, into that 3rd place spot. And now GVSU is just playing the waiting game. This is the worst thing possible in sports and esports, whatever you want to do. It is the worst thing to not have your fate be in your own hands. All you have to do was win here today, and you would have been in a great spot. But now you got to wait and find out whether or not Windsors won their series or not against Waterloo.
Yeah, well, an entire series that was defined by a few key moments, whether it be in the hard point, specifically the S&D, and then that control where Bonk just wins it. I mean, I'm going to keep referring to it because it was that spectacular of a play to win them the series 3-0, because that easily could have led to momentum from GVSU being able to win that map and then starting the reverse sweep. So, you know, you got to tip it in those moments, and that's exactly what happens. But just a small little bit of information here. I guess it's a tiny announcement, but it is something to keep note of and take into consideration for later on tomorrow. But it is coming up to the LCQs. Again, we start next week, and then playoffs are shortly after the LCQs finish. But the CCL team is going to be posting articles tomorrow with all of the LCQ and regional playoff information for respective teams. The information will be going live tomorrow morning. Be sure to keep an eye out for it so you can keep up to date with all of your favorite teams, your team specifically, and everything that will be going on with the LCQ and playoffs moving forward. Jesse, unfortunately, this means that we have yet for the 4th or 5th time now reached the conclusion of a CCL regular season. We'll be moving on to playoffs, and unfortunately, we are going to be saying goodbye to some of the teams in Tier 4 for the season. Again, there's tons of teams going into the LCQ. Obviously, it was the top 8 teams out of each Tier 1 in all 4 regions who automatically qualify for playoffs. So congratulations to everybody that has made their mark and qualified for playoffs already. The LCQ is going to be a bloodbath, and then, of course, the bottom teams inside of Tier 4 that weren't the top 4 in Tier 4 will unfortunately be outside of playoff contention, and their CCL seasons have come to an end. They'll be relegated out, and of course, they can come back and try their hand again next season. Either way, Jesse, closing thoughts before we go ahead and end out the broadcast tonight.
Closing thoughts are that we're in for a crazy playoffs, honestly. I mean, like, the fact that we watched, I know you weren't in there earlier, but the fact that I watched Bay State earlier, honestly, on Alpha, in a series against Davenport, the number 10 team, and they very easily could have been 3-0'd in that series.
I got to see a little bit of that
too. But they won 3-0, so I mean they still got the job done. But I think that just goes to show you that I know we're kind of watching Tier 2 teams here on Bravo for tonight, but I mean I think honestly anybody inside of our top 10 has a shot at being able to take this championship this year. And honestly, I'm just really excited to get to watch some more COD.
Look, I know that Northwood lost to Bay State just last week, but I'm going to caution you against really picking any favorites going into playoffs, because Jesse just highlighted that those top 10 teams are crazy. Just wait until you see those other 54 teams that are going to be just as hungry as the top 10 teams when we get into playoff time. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Thank you to everybody on production. Thank you to Cruisin' for joining myself here, and of course the 2 teams that we got to watch duke it out for 3 straight maps. It's been a wonderful CCL regular season, and we hope you join us the rest of the way come playoffs, and of course the LCQ that starts up next week. Until then, though, we will say goodnight. We will say goodbye. Have a great night. Have a safe night. We'll see you next week for the LCQs.